They throw the jab, and you flinch. A single comment sends you spiraling for hours. A look, a tone, a silence that you know is meant to sting. And you bleed openly, right there for everyone to see. You tell yourself it's honesty. You call it being real. But here's the cold truth they don't teach you. Emotional exposure is a trap. Machiavelli warned us in The Prince. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. The dog bleeds openly and calls it authenticity. The wolf feels the blow and never shows the wound. Today, you stop being a target. You'll learn 6 foundational laws that turn your emotional life from a battlefield into a fortress. Not to become numb, but to become untouchable. In the rooms that matter, with the people who test you, and inside your own head. If you're ready to stop handing them the knife, type armor in the comments, and let's dive in. Law 1. The trigger map. You cannot defend against what you haven't named. Every manipulator, every toxic person, every petty tyrant runs the same playbook. They find the button and they press it, over and over, because it works. This law is mapping your own emotional battlefield. Sit down, alone with brutal honesty, and write out the exact things that make you flinch. When my partner withholds affection, I feel. When a colleague dismisses my idea in front of others, When someone questions my competence, the first thought in my head is, this is not self-pity. This is intelligence gathering. The dog avoids the list because looking at it hurts. The wolf creates the list, studies it, and uses it to build walls around those exact points. Take 15 minutes tonight. Write down the 5 most reliable ways people trigger you. No judgment, just data. Tomorrow, when someone reaches for one of those buttons, you'll see the hand coming before it lands. Law 2. The Detachment Reflex. Between stimulus and reaction, there is a sliver of space. In that space lies your freedom. The second law trains you to expand that gap until it becomes automatic, a reflex that happens before you can be pulled into the emotional trap. Most people live in reaction mode. They feel, they explode, they regret. The wolf learns to pause, not to suppress, to choose. Here's how you build the reflex. When you feel the heat rise, take one slow breath. Not dramatic, just enough to break the cycle. Ask yourself one question. If I react now, who does that serve? Then decide. Sometimes you speak, sometimes you stay silent, but the choice is yours, not theirs. The dog barks immediately. The wolf pauses, watches the trap spring, and steps around it. Practice this 3 times today. A text that irritates you, a comment that stings, a demand that's meant to guilt you. Each time, breathe once, then respond or don't. But do it consciously. Law 3. Armor without numbness. The fear most people have about emotional armor is that it will turn them cold, robotic, disconnected, dead inside. That's a lie told by people who want you defenseless. The third law is the distinction between being armored and being numb. The wolf feels everything, sometimes more intensely than the dog. The difference is that the wolf doesn't let the feeling become a weapon in someone else's hand. You can cry in your car. You can journal the rage. You can scream into a pillow, call a trusted friend, or sit in silence and let the emotion pass through you like a wave. But you do it away from the person who would harvest that emotion for their own control. Next time you feel raw, grief, anger, shame, let it exist. Feel it fully. But before you show it to anyone, ask, does sharing this with this person move me toward sovereignty or give them leverage? You don't hide from yourself. You hide from the people who collect blood. Law 4. the observer frame. When you're in the middle of a storm, you cannot see the storm. You are the storm. The fourth law teaches you to step outside yourself, to watch your own reactions as if you were a scientist studying a subject. The dog says, "I am angry." The wolf says, "Anger is present." That shift, from identity to observation, breaks the spell. When you can watch your own emotion without becoming it, you become unreadable. Manipulators need you to be your emotion. If you can simply have it, they lose the handle. For one day, whenever a strong emotion surfaces, narrate it silently in third person. He feels frustration rising. She notices a wave of shame. Don't try to stop it. Just watch. You'll notice the emotion loses its grip much faster when you refuse to merge with it. Law 5. The energy debt audit. Some relationships are not connections. They are energy theft. The fifth law is ruthless. You must identify and cut the people and inputs that drain your emotional reserves below baseline. Not because you're cruel, because an empty vessel cannot help anyone, including yourself. Make a list of the last 5 interactions that left you exhausted. Look at the pattern. Is it the same person? The same type of conversation? The same dynamic where you give and they take? The dog stays because he's afraid to be seen as mean. The wolf knows that letting a leech stay attached is not kindness. It's slow self-destruction. This week, choose one relationship that consistently drains you. Create a boundary. A shorter visit, a delayed response, not right now. Notice how much lighter you feel. The guilt will come. Let it come. It's the price of reclaiming your energy. Law 6. The Unreachable Core. Here is the deepest. Everything else, mapping triggers, building reflexes, setting boundaries, is preparation for this. Developing an internal identity that external attacks cannot reach. When your sense of self is built on what you produce, how you're perceived, or the approval of others, you will always be vulnerable. One bad review, one silent treatment, one whisper campaign, and the foundation cracks. The unreachable core is built on things no one can take from you. Your values, your code, your understanding of your own worth independent of outcomes. The dog says, "They made me feel worthless." The wolf says, "They tried to make me feel worthless," but worth is not theirs to give or take. Write down 3 truths about yourself that would still be true, even if everyone you knew rejected you tomorrow. Put them somewhere visible. Read them every morning. This is your anchor when the storm tries to blow you off course. Here's the part that most people skip. If you felt resistance reading these laws, if you felt defensive or guilty or thought, "This sounds cold," that resistance is not a flaw. It's a signal. Your shadow is the part of you that still believes suffering equals love. That believes bleeding openly is the only way to be seen. That believes if you stop reacting, you'll stop mattering. Ask yourself these 2 questions tonight. 1. Which emotion am I most ashamed of? That's where you're most vulnerable. 2. Who in my life knows exactly how to hurt me? And how did they learn? If you answer honestly, you'll see the architecture of your own emotional exposure. That's not weakness. That's the blueprint for the armor. I remember a man who used to leave family gatherings shaking, silent, seething, and sometimes crying in the car before he could drive home. He'd been taught that keeping the peace meant absorbing everything. One day he stopped absorbing, not with drama, just with presence. When the jab came, the familiar comment designed to sting, he didn't flinch. He stayed grounded, finished his sentence, excused himself calmly when he needed to. And later, when the silence would have once been filled with shame, he found nothing landed. The buttons were still there. He just wasn't letting anyone press them. He didn't become colder. He became harder to play. That's what invisible armor feels like. Not absence of feeling, just the end of being an easy target. For the next 7 days, practice one law each day. Day 1, map your triggers. Write them down. Day 2, build the detachment reflex. Pause before you react. Day 3, feel the emotion, but don't weaponize yourself. Day 4, watch yourself from the observer frame. Day 5, audit one energy drain and create one boundary. Day 6, anchor yourself in the unreachable core. Day 7, look back. Notice what's changed. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to start refusing to be read like a book by people who don't have your best interest at heart. If this series is hitting the right nerve, if you're done being the easy target, then subscribe. Not because I need the number, because you're selecting yourself for the deeper work. In the next video, we move from internal armor to external defense, boundary warfare. Because once you're untouchable inside, the next step is making sure the outside world respects it. The dog bleeds, the wolf builds. Master the game. Guard your mind.